Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, August 1st, and we're going to call this meeting of the Sault Ste. Marie City Commission to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Gary,
Here.
Commissioner Bauer, Commissioner Bospis-Rath,
Here.
Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Rubenstein,
Here.
Commissioner Talentino,
Here.
Commissioner Twardy.
Here.
We did receive notice from Commissioners Miller and Bauer that they were unable to make the meeting this evening, so we'd need a motion to excuse, please.
I'll make that motion to excuse both of them.
Support. Been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
They are excused. If everybody could please stand, if you're able to, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Good to see a full gallery this evening. I don't have any comments or announcements this evening, so we'll move right into item C, which is public comments. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments on any of our regularly scheduled agenda items? So any of the agenda items that we have scheduled, anybody want to make any comments on those? All right, so we will move on into item D, which is our consent agenda. Deputy City Manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Under the consent agenda, 1, approval of the City Commission meeting minutes of July 18th, 2022. Item 2, acceptance of the Airport Advisory Board meeting minutes of June 9th. Item 3, acceptance of the Board of Review meeting minutes of July 2022. Item 4, acceptance of the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority meeting minutes of June 14th. Item 5, acceptance of the Downtown Development Authority meeting minutes of June 15th. Item 6, acceptance of the Economic Development Corporation meeting minutes of June 14th. Item 7, acceptance of the Historic Structures Management Committee meeting minutes of May 4th and June 15th, 2022. Item 8, acceptance of the Tax Increment Finance Authority 3 meeting minutes of June 14th. Item 9, acceptance of the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting minutes of June 16th. Item 10, consideration of a private use agreement for parking spaces behind 824 Ashman Street for J&C Development LLC. Item 11, consideration to apply for a surface water intake protection program grant. Item 12, consideration of a Conica Minolta renewal rental agreement with National Office Products. And item 13 is approval of the consent agenda items as presented.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager. Would anybody like any of these items further explained or have any of them removed for individual consideration? Seeing none, Commissioner Twardy.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments on any of the items? We'll have a roll call, please.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bospis-Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Rubenstein,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy.
Yes.
Motion did pass unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on into, we have nothing in E, special orders of business, or F, communications, so we'll move right along into G, which is business items. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up first for commission consideration is a first reading of an ordinance regarding pedestrian crossings in the downtown area. Long story short, so the city's had the pedestrian crossing signs in the downtown on Ashman and Portage for a few years now. As we were doing some safety discussions regarding the downtown and the traffic flow and pedestrian safety, we discovered that there's not actually an ordinance on the books that makes those signs kind of enforceable. So we've drafted an ordinance for you for first reading tonight that's been worked on in the engineering department with assistance from MDOT. Tonight's motion is just to schedule a public hearing for August 15th, 2022, and then we'll have final consideration on the ordinance.
Thank you, City Manager. Anybody have any questions or comments for the City Manager? Commissioner Twardy.
I love the idea. I love the presence of the signs. I think it's going to take people a while to learn because I still hear a lot of stories about people trying to enter into the crosswalk and almost getting hit by a car. And after what happened with Sharon Kennedy, we want to make sure that we're doing everything to ensure that our pedestrians are safe. But what is the plan for winter? Because obviously these signs can only stay out seasonally. So we're talking about 5 or 6 months. Is there anything that we can do in the wintertime, or not really?
Not really.
Okay.
Just because the nature of the sign's got to come down because of the plow
Plows.
operations. So there is some discussions with Ashman Street from the bridge down to Portage about putting in a different type of crosswalk markings where the brick pavers are. We're looking at a higher vis kind of, is it polyurethane, would you say, Dave? Yeah, high vis polyurethane, but it is white, so I don't know how well it's going to help out in the wintertime, but
Okay.
it's tough in the wintertime, just given the nature of the snow. Any kind of surface treatment we put on could be covered for a number of days, and then the signs, we just got to keep them out of the way of the plow trucks. So it's a little bit different. It is more of a seasonal program for us, but even so, with the and then the enforcement side, without the ordinance on the books to kind of make them permissible, we couldn't even do. There's some cities that have those signs in downtown areas, and they'll have cops set up, kind of like a sting, for lack of a better term. They'll have someone that looks like they're trying to enter onto the crosswalk, and then if somebody doesn't stop, there'll be a cop on the side to pull them over. We couldn't have that kind of enforcement without this ordinance on the books.
Without the ordinance. Okay.
So there's things that we can do, but it is kind of a seasonal thing for
Yeah.
us.
I think it's a great first step, and we can just keep working on trying to develop that program. But there's a lot of tourists on Portage, and this season is just as crazy as last season. So
Mhm.
I get really nervous even driving down Portage. And Don and I talk about this all the time, or the mayor and I talk about this all the time, that I don't even do more than 15 miles an hour on Portage, because you just never know when a kid's going to pop out into the crosswalks, or there's just a lot of activity down there. So I think anything that we can do, almost like a road digest, to try to get people to try to
Mhm.
be more aware of their surroundings, and pedestrians slow their speed down. It's not a big city. We don't have to go very far, so.
Yeah, and there's probably some things we can do on Portage. Yeah, on Portage. Ashman, excuse me. Ashman's a little bit tougher because it's an MDOT trunk line, so they supersede any of our desires and wants on it. We've talked about rapid flashing beacons, we've talked about additional signage, and they're not necessarily in favor of it. And to a certain extent, when you put up a lot of signs, you kind of whitewash out the rest of everything
do,
else.
yeah.
So it's kind of tough, but we have spent a meeting or two discussing some of the pedestrian crosswalks and trying to make it more safe for downtown, but a lot of the things are either cost prohibitive or they're not in approved MDOT kind of treatment, so to say.
Okay, well, thank you for the information.
Good questions. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Commissioner Bosphus-Rath, would you like to make the motion to schedule a
Sure.
second reading?
Motion to approve the first reading of the included ordinance to create section 24-37 pedestrians crossing streets and schedule second reading of the ordinance for August 15th, 2022 City Commission meeting.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you very much. Under G, business items, number 2, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next is a request from Commissioner Rubenstein regarding an Adopt a Park program. And so as to not steal his thunder, I'll turn it over to him.
Yeah, so this came from a recommendation out of the Parks and Rec Committee. So really it's just formalizing what's already being done around the city. We have groups of individuals that are cleaning up parks or fixing up parks or doing various things. And so it's just a way to formalize that, allow groups or individuals to take ownership over parks without adding additional costs to the city. There's already been some groups and individuals that have expressed some interest. And Manager Chapman also sent over some examples from a few other cities that seem relatively easy to run and keep it hands-off for us for the most part, and hopefully continue to make this a better place to live.
Any questions for Commissioner Rubenstein? City Manager, any input, or what would you
So-
like a,
So if there's any direction from the commission, if this is something you want to pursue, we can draft it up, probably have it in a meeting or two, probably 2 meetings for final commission consideration. We have done a little bit of pre-work, like Commissioner Rubenstein said. We found a couple of programs through, one was Mesa, Arizona, and the other one was
Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor, that's right. And they're formalizing a lot of the things that we already do. Director Perrin also started just kind of planting the seed with the Parks Department to see what they would be comfortable with as to avoid any kind of grievance in the future. And I think there's a way of doing it. They seem pretty receptive to it as well. So if the commission, if you want to do a formal vote, you can do a formal vote, but just nod wants us to put something together and bring it back in a couple meetings, we can do that as well.
let's let Commissioner Rubenstein make a motion then on this. Okay, Commissioner Tuarte, or Commissioner Talentino, sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. Any liability issues here, City Manager, that we need to be concerned about?
There's liability issues with everything we do, but there's a way of managing the risk to it's not a major issue.
Perfect, thank you.
Commissioner Tuarte.
Thank you. So this shouldn't go through the Parks and Rec Board first and as a formal idea and then come to us, or are we gonna send it back down to the Parks and Rec Board?
Good question.
That's a good question. We can probably send it to the Parks and Rec first for input. Trying to think if they have a meeting.
They should at the end of this month.
Yeah, I don't remember. We can send it to Parks and Rec first
Okay.
and get some input from it. And then we'll follow up. So we'll send it to Parks and Rec first, and then we'll bring it to the commission, if that's how
Okay.
you so
Are you-
choose.
Good with that? Okay.
Want to make a motion just to make it official?
Send it to the Parks and Rec.
Back to administration to formulate a plan and send it to Parks and Rec.
Motion to send the idea creation of an Adopt a Park program back to the administration.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you very much. G, business items number 3, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to purchase a newer sewer camera system for the utility department. The project was bid out. We issued an RFQ with a few of them coming back in. This item has 2 motions. Motion to adjust the budget by $16,000 to cover the purchase, and a motion to award the sewer cameras, the purchase to Jack Doheny Company for a price of $90,569. Right now, what we do is we've typically been renting out a sewer camera system from a contractor here in town. It's based on their schedule and their availability. We'll be able to troubleshoot and diagnose issues within the sewer systems a lot quicker and more efficiently with this system. There's a lot of uses that we can have for it, but it'll certainly make the department a lot more efficient in finding issues.
Any questions at all for the city manager? Certainly will be a good addition. I know that we've had to do that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been a missing piece of equipment in department. So, Commissioner Talentino, would you like to make those? There are 2 separate motions.
Sure, Your Honor. Motion to adjust the budget by $16,000 to cover the purchase cost for the sewer camera system.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments on this item? Sure.
Sorry. I see that this is a Michigan company, which is awesome. Do they have, what's the, you know, me and my guarantees or whatever, what's the, what word am I looking for?
Warranty?
On the
Yes,
equipment?
thank you. What's the warranty on the camera, do you know?
Kirk, do you know what the warranty is on the equipment?
Okay, nice.
So 1-year warranty with a rental agreement that if it goes down, we get another one.
Perfect, thank you.
So it has been moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baspis Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Rubenstein,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarte,
Yes.
Mayor Gary.
Yes. Motion passed unanimously. Second part, Commissioner Talentino.
Yes, Your Honor. Motion to award to purchase the sewer camera system from Jack Doney Company for the price of $90,569.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Rubenstein,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary.
Yes.
Commissioner Bospis Rath.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. So, moving on to H, City Manager announcements and updates. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First point of discussion, just for the commission really quick. I want to have the land bank officials that we've been partnering with come up and give a presentation on some TIF tools that they're in the process of working out. It'd probably be about a 30-minute presentation, so it's not very long, but I would anticipate some questions during it. Would you prefer a presentation during the commission meeting or a workshop before the commission meeting? Any preference?
I think televised would be good.
Okay.
Any other?
Okay, we'll do it during the commission
Yeah.
meeting then.
Okay.
So we'll start working that out and get that set up. And then, just as an FYI, I'll be out of the office next Friday, the 12th, and then the week of the 22nd through the 26th.
All right, any questions for the city manager on any other items? Commissioner Miller had asked, and I guess I might as well ask it now in your announcements, updates. He wanted to see if he could get an update on the puller fryer and grill or hood.
So we were put in contact with we were doing two things at once. We were put in contact with a contractor out of St. Ignace to install the hood that was currently purchased. We were going back and forth with him trying to schedule a time, and then he finally said that he's not interested in the project. So that one fell through, I think, late last week sometime. While that was happening, we've found kind of the equipment that we'll work with. We've sent it off to the Eagles to see what they thought about it too, and they said that that would work for them. So we'd be switching from a normal propane kitchen appliance, the hoodless that we talked about, more electric-driven ones. Director Perrin had a meeting with Roy Electric this afternoon to get a better understanding of what the electric capacity is going down into the concession stands. And there'll be some work that we'll have to do to make it happen. It shouldn't be too bad, but between the purchase of the hoodless grill, the purchase of a hoodless fryer, and the new electrical lines that will go to the concession stand, it should fall within budget. So that's what we're moving towards. We'll probably have a couple of those items on the agenda the next meeting for consideration.
Thank you. Still on target for opening of season?
It'll be close.
Okay. Any other questions, comments for the city manager? Okay. Moving on into item I, which is matters presented by the public. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? And please state your name and residence for the record, please. Welcome, Tracy.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Holt, and I'm the volunteer president for the Chippewa County Family Project. And as I'm sure all of you are unaware, Erin Albrecht, who is our vice president, or she's the vice president at Central Savings Bank, Julia Marchand, a community nurse, and I were all subpoenaed for the ongoing lawsuit between the city and the Chippewa County Family Project Arfstrom Font Teen Home, trying to seek $40,000 in property taxes, as our exemption was pulled by the city assessor for not meeting our mission. Yes, we rented the home out as an Airbnb simply to pay the $9,000 monthly cost for our mortgage, utilities, and payroll, so we could continue to move forward to further our charitable purpose during these unprecedented times. At no time did I ever go behind the city's back. And the plot does not thicken due to my involvement. So to hear these comments that were made during a public recorded meeting is truly unnecessary. Never in my life have I been treated like such a criminal by a community that I take pride in serving. A community I had the utmost respect for, was born and raised in, and raised my family in. The place where I plan to spend my retirement. But today, it saddens me to say that I don't feel that way anymore. What happened to the idea of working together for the betterment of our community? Coming together to help support, encourage, and inspire. The Chippewa County Family Project is a legally established 501c3 not-for-profit organization. It's not only providing a home for area teens in foster care, but we are creating jobs with good wages and benefits, and it's working towards future projects such as developing a 60-acre parcel of land and turning it into an outdoor recreational park, starting a new business so our youth can develop employment skills while offering something unique in our downtown. Because the need is so dire, we are already looking to expand, providing more homes to continue to meet the needs of our youth who have nowhere to go, no place to call home. It's disheartening that there was never an attempt made to come together for a resolution. Why? You know why, and those who initiated this know why. At this point, 2 years into this litigation, we have been served with 3 sets of discovery, dealt with several motions to compel, and are now being subpoenaed. We have produced everything we possibly could. There's nothing left for us to give. The city's attorney is simply malingering this out. For what? This is all intended to drive the cost of litigation, wasting taxpayers' money, in an attempt to wear us down, thinking we will give up. I can assure you that will never happen. We are not criminals, and we have done no wrong. We are simply volunteers who choose to put service above self in our community. Look at your attorney fees. I'm sure by now it's close to or exceeds the $40,000 that you're trying to seek. At the end of the day, business is simply business. We understand that. We do. We're simply guilty of trying to make something happen as quickly as possible for the sake of these kids. Should we have taken a slower approach? Perhaps. But we still have a lot of respect for everyone who stepped in and helped, giving guidance and direction when needed since the beginning of this project. However, this recent action is now personal and one that I don't take lightly. As a devoted Rotarian, I take pride in our motto, service above self. In the words we cite each week of the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Is it beneficial to all concerned? I think not. This ongoing litigation, this continuous strife is certainly not advantageous to any aspect of this project. So now I can only pray to God that he gives us strength to rise above this threat to our spirit of community service, which is a calling I have personally devoted more than 3 decades. Some can continue to try and knock us down, kick us to the curb for your so-called claim to victory, but it's not something that anyone has the power to take away because we have the passion and we have the drive. These kids deserve to have someone fight for them, to give them a chance for a decent life, and that's what we are committed to do. And tonight, we have some of our board members who are also with us and community supporters. And Tara Trombley, who is our chief administrator, is here, and we are pleased to say that we have 12 employees who are trained, hired, ready to go. We will not disclose the date of when we will be opening, as it will be soon, but for the protection of the youth, we will not be announcing when that day will be here. But we are excited after this long battle that it is, so we just really hope and pray that we can work together with the city and end this. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. To the point and articulate as always. We appreciate everything you do. I guess does anybody else want to speak to this? Mr. Armstrong, if you'd like to come up and please give your name, even though we all know you, and your residence for the record, please.
Okay, I'm Bob Arstrom, and I'm the oldest guy here. I don't know when that happened, but it seemed to happen in a hurry. But even with advancing age and heart condition and such, I'm not as feisty as I used to be, and I'm probably not as combative as I used to be. And I need notes now. So, but with that being said, I would ask you to at least listen to and take heed to what I have to say. In the Bible, if you happen to read it, there are Pharisees, and the Pharisees had rules, and they had 600 and some rules, and they stuck with those rules. However, I think we all know what happened in the end. The rules lost out, and somebody got crucified because of it. I'm not on the board of the Chippewa County Family Project. I'm just a concerned citizen, and that's what these comments are about. I am disappointed that the commission chose to bring this action, the subpoena action, against these three people. Everybody has worked so hard on this project, and the board has been incredible in trying to get things done and bring this project to fruition. And I think it's a shame that it has to come to this, because they're very hardworking and they care about the foster teens in this community. And I don't know if you're aware of how many of these teens are sleeping in somebody else's home on somebody else's couch every night. Not in their own homes, someplace else. And they need our attention, and that's what this is all about. Tracy has dedicated her life, if you will, her adult life to this community. I dare say that if it was not for Tracy, that we would not have a hospice house in this community. And that hospice house has serviced hundreds of patients and hundreds of families, and maybe even some of yours. But I don't think it would have ever happened without her efforts, along with so many other efforts in the Eastern Upper Peninsula. She's a workhorse, and she's filled with philanthropy. A commissioner said to me the other day that we violated the mission. In a time of COVID and a means to raise some additional finances, yes, they did go to a situation where they had an Airbnb. But I take that as just being another way to raise finances, and I don't know any nonprofit organization that doesn't want to raise finances. $40,000, folks, crying out loud, they don't have it. You know, I mean, been through a couple years of this, of trying to raise money. You realize the number of people in this community that have contributed to this cause, that have put forth a lot of their hard work and their money in all these bedrooms and everything else that is in this facility? $40,000, it's asinine. Absolutely asinine. Maybe somebody's toes got stepped on in this process. I don't know. I don't like politics. It's the reason I never ran for city commission. I don't like politics. But nevertheless, I can tell you that all the years and all the things that I've been involved with in this community, my toes have been stepped on a lot of times. And you just take it and move forward. But if somebody's bitter because of the fact that we had Airbnb come in a few times and perform this activity so that we could meet expenses, and they still had to go out and get other monies. Money does not grow on trees, and I know you folks all know this. But I think it's a kick in the teeth to all the people that have worked so hard and given to this project. I know you folks. I've known every one of you for a long time. And I know you're good people. And I come to you because I guess I'm appealing to your sensitivity and your love of Sault Ste. Marie the same way I have it. I've been working my fanny off for 50 years in this community with different projects to try and get things done. Where's the love, folks? Where's the compassion? Is this the caring that we're showing to these foster kids in our community? I don't know. I think shame on us if this is the direction that you want to go in. I'm sure the city commission in some way, shape, or form could put a stop to this if you want to. And I pray that you make that compassionate decision. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate your comments and your service. Anybody else that would like to make any comments? I don't know. I'll ask city manager, I guess, since this is a tax tribunal case, which is active. I don't know how much information we can discuss or how much you can share at this point, but certainly we'll turn it over to you. No excuses, Bob, at all, and we all do support and appreciate the project. But we are the City of Sault Ste. Marie's collection agent for multiple units of government for the taxes. We have a fiduciary responsibility, and it's state of Michigan driven, so we also cannot violate law. But maybe the city manager can talk a little bit more about our responsibilities and where we are.
So the tax tribunal process has been moving forward from what I understand. It's still been a lot of pre-trial work. I don't believe a hearing has been scheduled yet. Last update I have here looks like maybe a pre-hearing in November, but it's been a lot of motions and paperwork at this point. Our attorney our assessor handles a lot of the lesser complicated motions and filings and paperwork. Jack from Foster Swift, our attorney, is the one that handles some of the bigger ones in there, but it looks like, just as an FYI, it's only been about 14,000 on the case so far. In terms of a tribunal, that's obviously a lot smaller than some of the other ones we've done with Myers, but I can get a more up-to-date update. I don't believe there's anything else that Tina really has, and I get it to the commission next couple of days here, but that's kind of where we're at, still in the motion and discovery and hearing phases from what I understand.
Commissioner Tuarte just asked about the, could you elaborate a little bit on the subpoenas? And then I had a question, I think, for I guess it'd be for Tracy. She had mentioned something about a public recorded meeting. Is that that was not of the commission, that was of a...
The committee that chose to move forward with the tax tribunal.
I'm not sure, that was,
The Board of Review?
that was our local board of review that consists of, okay, thank you.
What was your question?
The subpoenas that
Oh,
were recently
subpoenas.
issued, what were
I'm
they,
assuming that's still part of the discovery phase. There was some information that we were seeking. Jack, our attorney, has been writing and adding motions to get petitioner to provide certain information. I'm sure that the subpoenas are just an attempt to get more information at this time if we don't have the complete picture.
All right, so you're going to get us a better picture of what the status is?
Correct.
Going, okay. So at this point in time, that's the only information that we had was that this tax tribunal has been going forward, but certainly the day-to-day legal process, we don't know. So we will find out more information. All right, any questions from the commission or any thoughts? Thank you very much for coming. We will get more information in the days ahead from the city manager, from our attorneys. So, thank you. Anybody else in the audience that has any items to bring up in front of the commission? All right, we'll move into matters presented by the City Commission. Item J, Commissioner Rubenstein.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a couple minutes to recognize our AmeriCorps Vista, so Volunteer in Service to America volunteers who are with us here tonight. So Alex Menard, Anna Hildebrand, Mackenzie Clayton, Angelina Cornwell, Sarah Garland, and Caitlin Eddington. So they were part of a 10-week position with AmeriCorps focused on helping to address the learning gap with summer school programs. So they had an average of 30 service hours a week, and just some of the projects they worked on here locally. So gardening at the Bayless Library and hospice, different activities at hospice, activities with the Children's Museum, volunteering at the Gus Macker Tournament, volunteering with Engineers Day, painting the crosswalks, working with the Diane Pepler Resource Center, and helping at Lincoln Schools and Head Start. So thank you all for your service to the community, and please, you're welcome to come up after and introduce yourselves to us. So thank you.
Excellent. Congratulations, and thank you for your service. Did you say you wanted them to come up and say hi?
Say hi after, once we adjourn.
Okay. Not during the meeting? All right. Any other commissioners have any comments this evening? Commissioner Twardy.
Yeah, thanks. It's hard to change gears after hearing a whole lot of information that I think the commission didn't know about, but I did want to just acknowledge that U of M football was in town last Friday, which I found to be pretty quite fascinating. Their nutritionist ended up coming into my popcorn store, and she was excited that she could find a healthy snack. And long story short, she started telling me that their head coach, who, you know, I've admired for years and years and years, even from his time in the NFL, he discovered that a lot of these boys are coming from all over the country, and they're plopping in Ann Arbor, and they're never leaving the city of Ann Arbor for the entire year, the school year, and they didn't even know the state that they represent. And so he took them on a 7-day whirlwind tour of the state of Michigan, which I found to be very fascinating. They started at the state capitol, and then he showed them Lake Michigan, 2 parts of Lake Michigan. Then they stayed the night on Drummond Island, where he got to show them like the Straits of Mackinac and Lake Huron. And then they came to the UP. They were at the Sioux Locks for an hour on Friday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. And then they were headed to Oswald's Bear Ranch, to Quamanon Falls, Pictured Rocks, and then headed back down to Ann Arbor. And one of the boys said to me, well, first of all, most of them were blown away at how cold it was, because if anybody remembers, last Friday was actually a pretty chilly day and unusual for July, but they were all so gracious, and one of them looked at me and said, I've never seen so many trees in my entire life. So they were having a great time. They were all so polite. They stood, they took pictures, they signed autographs. I will forever be my brother-in-law's favorite sister-in-law forever, because I got an autograph from the head coach written out to him, so I've got that place secured as the favorite sister-in-law. But it was really cool. He said that they want to do this on an annual basis, and I would like for the city to actually be able to make a little bit more out of it. It would have been really cool if the mayor would have been there, if we would have known about it, and we could have welcomed them. And it's a great thing, and so maybe we'll get more of the teams to come up here too and really experience what the UP has to offer.
Thanks, Commissioner. Anybody else have anything to bring forward? Mr. Talentino.
This is really, as far as the lock project, just as of just a few minutes ago, right before the meeting started, we did get official word that phase 1 is officially over. So the deepening project has been done. So now it's to Kokosi and Aberici for phase 2 and phase 3. So phase 1 is officially over.
So you're officially unemployed.
I'm officially out of job.
Congratulations. Anybody else? Commissioner Twardy.
Move to adjourn.
Support.